Marines know what the Tun is. We know it. Not America doesn't really know the history of this building and its significance, of the role that it played. One key fact: so when an army, if a soldier is watching this, the night that George Washington was named the commander-in-chief of the Continental Army, the members of Congress took him. They walked a couple of blocks and they went into the Tun and had dinner.
A few weeks ago, I had a conversation with retired Marine Corps Colonel Ken Hopper. Colonel Hopper had an outstanding career in the Marines and is now part of a project on an important piece of history, rebuilding the bar where the Marine Corps was born.
And he goes, wow, I wonder how many people would show up if the Tun was still here. Well, that gave him an idea. And he went on a journey investigating the history of the Tun.
My name is Josh Roe, and this is Tomorrowtown, Tennessee. So for clarity on this story, I want to make sure we all understand this. There are two different projects to rebuild the historic Tun Tavern in the same area of Philadelphia, the Old City. And there's currently a legal battle playing out concerning a trademark on the name Tun Tavern. I'll have more details on that at the end of this episode. But this project we are discussing today is called the Tun, and this project is led by the nonprofit, the Tun Legacy Foundation. Here is my interview with Colonel Ken Hopper.
I came from a small farm in North Carolina. I had 177 people graduate in my high school class. And if you'd asked that 18-year-old, where are you going to be 50 years from now? And what adventures are you going to be on? I don't. What I have done in my career would have been the furthest thing from my mind. The 2 points, I became a naval aviator because I wanted to be an astronaut. That was, I remember in grade school, and they brought the TV in and I watched Friendship 7 take off. And I went, that's what I want to do. So junior high, during my time, not middle school, junior high, high school, I knew you had to be a pilot. I knew you had to be good in science or math. And that's what I want to do. So that is why the first critical decision I made that I would not be where I am if I had not done this is I attended the Citadel there in Charleston, South Carolina. So that then gave me the structure that I needed in life. And that perpetuated and continued to where I am today. The second decision that was critical in this was raising my right hand to join the United States Marine Corps. And that there is no doubt those two decisions made me the person I am today, because I wanted to be that individual like yourself to serve and protect the country. I was fortunate. Yes, I was a naval aviator. I've been to all 50 states. I've been to over 30 countries. And yes, I have 7 combat tours. So I didn't shy away from the danger. I wanted to be one of those individuals that help protect this country.
Well, thank you for doing that. As a Marine Corps veteran and as an American citizen, that matters. And so thank you, sir, for stepping up and doing the things you did.
Thank you for you doing it also.
It, like you said, it's life-changing. And I can relate to some of those things. I grew up in a small town in West Tennessee and didn't have a lot of direction as an 18-year-old. And boy, you step on those yellow footprints and you get it real quick. Like it or not.
You don't have to worry about direction. They're telling you.
Mm-hmm.
They're telling you.
Absolutely.
I didn't go through that, but I'm going through TBS. Mm-hmm. Well, OCS, we did officers was 7-8 weeks in the summer. So they treated you then as my drill. And I'll never forget, Gunnery Sergeant Batanga and Staff Sergeant Garamone. And that's been, holy cow, almost 50 years. I can still see their faces. And Gunnery Sergeant Batanga walked up to us and he said, "My job is to make certain you don't join my Marine Corps." And I just looked at him, grinned, and went, "Okay, fight's on."
Yeah. The thing that I always go back to when I talk to people about it is some people in this world spend their whole life trying to figure out who they are. Once you go through that process, you never have to figure that out. There's something that anchors you to understanding a connection to Marines, Marine Corps, this country, the things that you accomplished in that space. It's been the most that's been the most valuable thing for me. You go through life struggles, whatever you go through, you have that, you've done that, and that matters, and you can anchor yourself to that.
100%. 100%.
And in the Marine Corps, history is obviously a big part of that. Learning the history, and that's what we're going to talk about a little bit today. So tell me what the Tun Legacy Foundation. Tell me what that is and why you're a part of that.
The Tun Legacy Foundation was a dream, an epiphany from Pat Daly, who's a Marine also, who resides just outside Philadelphia. Years ago, there was a bar in historic Philadelphia, in Old Town Philly, and it was called Cookies. It wasn't visited. If you went to Cookies any other day other than November 10th, yeah, there'd probably be 20, 30 people in there. Okay. But you get to November 10th and it was stupid. I never went. I can only tell you stories. They tell stories that it'd be 3,000 to 5,000 people, and Cookies never got a permit from the city to close down the street. It just happened. And people knew that if you were anywhere in the area, Cookies is where you went, because it was going to be nothing but Marines that day. And it would start, they'd start coming in a little afternoon and stay all night. So Pat was there probably, it's been 9 years now. And he said it was cold, it was wet. He looked around, he said there had to have been 3,500 people there. And they were raising their beer glasses and toasting and singing the Marine hymn. And he goes, "Wow, I wonder how many people would show up if the Tun was still here." Well, that gave him an idea. And he went on a journey investigating the history of the Tun. So he went all the way back to William Penn. He wanted how it got to where it was, back to 16. He went all the way back to 1680 in his historical research. It was wonderful that he had that ability, because the Philadelphia Historical Society has so much history that they've kept, and he was able to do research. As he was doing research on the Tun, this is when he started to discover all these other organizations that had those connections. The first one that he found was the Pennsylvania Freemasons. So the Tun was, if I'm not mistaken, lodge number 3. The Philadelphia Historical Society actually has the book with the minutes from the meetings that they used to hold in the Tun. So he found the Freemasons met there. He then went to the Freemasons there in Philadelphia, told them of this idea that he had. And the Freemasons were the first ones to raise their right hand and said, "I'm in." So they jumped on board. Then he found, Friendly Sons and Daughters of St. Patrick, St. Andrews, St. George. He began to approach all those organizations in explaining, and it wasn't just hearsay. He actually showed them physical evidence of the Tun, and that these organizations actually could have their ties. It was there in his research that he found out that John Adams and the Second Continental Congress actually met there on the second floor and actually wrote the articles that created the Continental Navy. So that's how the Navy is tied to this place. I was at the first time I heard about this was 2022. I heard about it. I was the CEO of what's called the National Marine Corps Council. We got a briefing from Pat, and that's 27 Marine Corps veteran service organizations around the country. Then I brought him back in May of 23 to give an update. And at that time, it was more of information and showing that it was a very soft, here's my vision. Here's how you and your organization can assist us. It was then that I said, hey, Pat, I would love to be on your board of directors to help spread this word about the Tun. And I was fortunate to get approved to become a board member. And I've been about this deep in it ever since.
It's a fascinating story. I appreciate you sharing all that. I'd never even heard a fraction of that. So that's really interesting. I need to dig into some of all the things that he found.
Yeah.
So with that, so that was 23. Here we're 2 years later, and we're approaching the 250th birthday of the Marine Corps, which is every Marine that I know is talking about it and has been for months. Tell me kind of the build up to this day. I know that there's a lot of things in motion already, but what's that process been like to try to decide how you want to honor this birthday?
We wanted to do this right. We wanted to actually have a foundation. So in November of 2023, we actually held our first board meeting. And obviously the first order of business was to appoint a chair, president, I should say, executive director, and approve the board members. We did that in November of 23. We developed bylaws. We had 2 months before actually registered to be a 501c3. So that paperwork came in just about the same time. So we are a 501c3. The board was formed, bylaws accepted, and that's when we really began in earnest our fundraising in November of 2023. In early 2023, Pat began looking, and Rob Brink, who's the executive director and a Freemason, began looking for land. Okay, where are we going to put this? The biggest, I guess you say, stipulation in their own minds was they wanted to put it in historic Philly. That's where they wanted it. So they found a parking lot. No joke. Pay as you go parking lot in Old Town Philly. And for those that have been to Old Town Philly and those Marines, and there's thousands of them that have been to the historical marker there in Philly, which marks the site of where it stood. If you're standing there looking at it, and at the 10 o'clock position, about 200 meters is where we're building. That is as close as we can get to it. So we formed in November of 2023. It took almost 18 months to talk the brothers who owned this parking lot into selling it. So in April of 2024, we actually purchased the land. So now it's not just people talking about it. Now we got a physical location. We have an address that we're going to build this. So now we're in full fundraising mode. We had last November, we had a ceremonial groundbreaking ceremony, which was a wonderful event. And that was just a one-day event. There was between 3,000 and 4,000 people there. Can't say they were all Marines, because I know there was a bunch of Freemasons. There were people from St. Patrick, St. George, also there. But we had that soft opening. Uh, well, well attended. I mean, people were motivated. The commandant's own band
Oh
actually
boy.
stopped by, and we didn't tell many people about it. So they formed about 2 blocks away, out of sight, and then all of a sudden you hear the whistle blow, and then you hear the big bass drum,
Yeah. Yeah.
and there they come, and I have it on video. It's like Moses and the Red Sea. I mean, as they were marching, you saw the they just separated like this as the band came down, and that was the opening act for that day. And that event went on. Oh gosh, went on till 6, 7 o'clock. No, 6:30. We shut it down. It started at 10 o'clock in the morning, and we shut it down at 6:30 that day. And that was on a Sunday, which is a good thing because Monday was Veterans Day, and people really needed Veterans Day to recuperate from Sunday activities. So once we were done, we couldn't sit back, and we suddenly realized, holy cow, we've got 1 year in order to put together, because based on the crowd, we knew we had to do something special.
Mhm.
And I firmly believe that we have created a unique experience for those that do come to Philadelphia for the birthday weekend.
So tell me about that. Who all is going to be there? What do you have planned? All those things.
Oh, Lord. That has been my life and so many other people's life for 6 months now, at least. We've consciously made these because of the ties of the Tun and the Freemasons. We really wanted to get people immersed in the history. Okay. So Friday afternoon, because there's going to be some people coming Thursday. There'll be people coming Friday morning. So we wanted to do a soft on Friday, but we have tours set up Friday afternoon, starting at 4 p.m. and running every 45 minutes. And we have 4 tours. And the individuals that are fortunate enough to get a ticket for that are going to be taking a special tour inside the Grand Masonic Temple there in Philadelphia. And they're going to be able to see things and touch things that the normal public tours, and the public tours are typically 20 minutes. Okay. These are scheduled to be 45, 50-minute tours. Okay. So you're going to actually be able to hold an original cobblestone that helped put the Tun together. You're going to be able to actually have the apron that a Grand Master had when the Freemasons met at the Tun. So you're going to get that type of unique history there. And knowing that people are just be coming in, we originally coordinated with one of the local bars. Okay, they're in Philadelphia. The response has been it's blown me away. There have been over 500 people that have signed up to go on a bar crawl. There were so many people that we now have 5 bars designated. And when I say designated, it is, we have talked to the owners to say, hey, here's what's going on the whole weekend. Friday night, expect, this number of people, just so they're mentally prepared and they got the right number of staff in there. So it's so many that, and, I can't tell people where to start the bar crawl, but I'm going to, A through H, if your last name is in that, go to this bar. I through J, go to this bar. We're going to recommend people to go to these different. We wanted to continue that historical aspect of the weekend on Saturday, and we go back to the Grand Masonic Temple, and we're having what we're calling a lunch and learn, where Pat Daly's going to be there. Rob Brink for the Freemasons. We have Mark from who's a certified. He's an adjunct professor at the Naval Academy and at the War College to talk about the Continental Navy. Then we have the CEOs from the other three organizations are going to be there on a stage, and we're actually going to have a guest appearance. This will mean something to you, being a Marine. We actually have the great, whatever, how many greats that is, granddaughter of the first commandant of the Marine Corps, Samuel Nicholas.
Oh, man. Wow.
Dorothy's going to be there.
That's outstanding.
And talk about her dad, her grandfather, and his history, because he was a Quaker. He was a Freemason. He was the first recruiter, and he's the first Marine and the first commandant. So she's going to talk about his story. That's going to be from 11 o'clock to 1 o'clock. We then wanted to tie it in together. So Saturday afternoon, we have what we have titled the Tun Legacy Tour. So this will be that Saturday on November 8th will be the inaugural Tun Legacy Tour. And this is going to be a bus / walking tour. And we have 12 sites, primarily around the old city, picked out. Each tour is going to have their own certified guide. And we're going to visit those locations. And for obviously one of the places we're going to go to is Samuel Nicholas's grave there at Arch Street Meeting House. We're going to go to the steps. And I know people go, what do you mean the steps? Well, back in the day, there was essentially almost two parts of Old Town Philly. There was the dock in the wharf area, which was set down here. And then there's Old Town Philly that was on the bluff. And there were 6 steps that led from down here up to here. There is still one set of steps there in Old Town Philly that we'll go visit. And then, the other 10 sites are all directly related back to the Tun. So now people will be immersed. And during this tour, we're going to actually have reenactors that are going to be at different locations. And they're going to tell those people on the tour about themselves, what they do. And these guys are so good, they stay in character, so they're going to visit the historical marker where the Tun used to stand. And so we'll have a Continental Marine there. And he'll be talking about his life in the Continental Marines and getting to know Major Nicholas there. So that's going to go till almost 4 o'clock, 3:30 to 4 o'clock. Then again, continuing on our historical to get people in the reference, the tour will end at the Independent Seaport Museum there in Philly, where people will then be taking a tour of the USS Olympia. And the Olympia's claim to fame is twofold. One, it served as the flagship for Admiral Dewey during the war with the Spanish. Especially this flagship was in the Philippines. And those Navy personnel will remember Fire When Ready. That was on the Olympia. But the other claim to fame for the Olympia was it was selected by the United States Navy to actually go to France, and it carried the remains that ended up in Washington, D.C., that are now interned in the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier. And on that cruise, there was a platoon of Marines on board the boat to actually guard the remains in the casket. And a little known fact is that it was so large, and I've been on board the Olympia, the hatchways are so small they could not get the casket into the ship for safekeeping. So they had to tie it down in the back on the ship for the almost 2-week passage. It just so happened that during that 2-week passage, they had a hurricane go through. So there was a couple of Marines that almost lost their life protecting to keep the remains on board. So that's the other historical. And then we're tying it up. And I can't recommend enough for people to come to the dinner Saturday night. It's at the Independent Seaport Museum, where Pat Daly's going to then get up again and speak and tie up the historical significance of Philadelphia, the Tun, all the organizations that'll be in there. And this is all the food you can eat. And we do have an open bar there. Those that come actually going to be met by the Philadelphia Eagles cheerleaders. They're going to be there to welcome people in, and the Eagles drumline is going to be there. So it's going to be one great big party on Saturday.
Man, that's outstanding.
Oh, I can't. I mean, I'm looking forward to that one because people that come are going to get to walk around the whole museum there.
Just outstanding. So if people hear this and they want to come, is it still? Can they still get tickets? Can they still get into some of these events? How's that work?
The tickets, probably 3 weeks ago, we were, are the ticket sales going to kick up type of deal? But the actual tours on Friday are sold out.
Okay.
The happy hour is not sold out. It's just, be advised, it's going to be a lot of people downtown. Saturday, the Lunch and Learn has tickets. The Tour of the Olympia has tickets. And we call it the Taste of Philadelphia has tickets. Sunday, we're leveraging what the city of Philadelphia is already doing. They have set up, they celebrate, they do a Veterans Day parade on Sunday. So we're partaking in that. And we're closing in on 600 people that want to be part of the Tun Legacy parade formation in it. We're going to have reenactors from Continental Marines up to the present day Marine. So we're going to take part in the parade. There's a huge festival. It ends at the festival. So there's still obviously openings for those two events. Sunday evening, we're doing a dinner cruise on board the Spirit of Philadelphia. We have tickets there. That's going to be treated as a Marine Corps ball. And Barney Barnum, your buddy, is our guest speaker that evening. He's going to be there. Major General Jim Livingston is also going to be in attendance. So we're going to have 2 of the Medal of Honor recipients on board the boat there. Monday, the birthday, we wanted it's probably the most unique event that we have and one of the most unique in the country. We wanted, since Philadelphia was home to the Marines, we're the first recruiting station, first commandant, first Marines. We wanted to be the first to hold the first celebration of the Marine Corps' 250th. So at 11 p.m., the doors of the Museum of the American Revolution are going to open, and they're going to remain open until 1 o'clock in the morning. So at the stroke of midnight, then the tickets are gone for this one also. There's 350 of us that will be there, standing there, raising, our champagne and singing the Marine Corps hymn that night. And because we want to be the first to have the 250th birthday party.
I love it. That's great. That's great.
Then we start Monday at 9 a.m. At 9 a.m., we start we are participating, we are augmenting the Marine Corps League detachment up there, has a ceremony at the Commandant's grave, at the first Commandant's gravesite. That one is technically sold out because I know a lot of your readers are thinking graves like in, Eastern Tennessee, Middle Tennessee, where it's just this great big expanse. No, this is Arch Street Meeting House is a Quaker church. It was one of the oldest Quaker churches. The grounds are tiny, tiny, and they have a 5-foot wall built around it. So we had 300 people sign up for that. I had to close it off because there are the other individuals. There will be ROTC units there from a couple of the university, plus the Marine Corps League will be bringing 75 people or so, and 500 people there is going to be packed. I mean, packed there. Then we're going over to Independence Hall and Homecoming 250, and this is the entity that's actually coordinated the Navy Marine Corps Week that starts next week. This is one of their next to last ceremony. They have events. If the government comes back in, they have scheduled equipment demonstrations. They're going to have a flyover of the Blue Angels are scheduled to come over. Then there's going to be some proclamations read. There'll be some high-level government officials will be there. And that's open to as many people because it's in the park in Independence Hall. So thousands could be there with no issues. Then we really get to the party. Let me tell you, it's going to be a hit when we're closing in on 1,700 people who have taken the time to go to the website and put their name down.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
That's 1,700 people that have signed up. I feel that we are probably looking at 7,000 to 10,000 people there and they'll start getting there at 9 o'clock in the morning. We're not going to start playing music until 10:30. And we're going to have, we got Dave Bray, USA is going to be performing. The American Bombshells will be there. I can't announce our special guest who's going to be there yet. I haven't received permission yet, but there's a very prominent individual that will be in attendance to talk to everyone's there. We're going to have reenactors throughout. I am hoping that the Commandant's own band will be there to start festivities off. We are in the final stages of coordinating. Well, you remember this when you were a poolee, okay? We're working with the district and we're looking to get poolies to be able to get sworn in. That will just, for those that haven't seen it, me talking about it, I got goosebumps.
Yes, sir. Yeah, give me chills. Yeah.
It does. We're going to have a cake cutting ceremony, so it's going to be a good time for everyone to attend just to reconnect in that camaraderie and to tell stories of whether you did just one tour or you did, 30 plus years. Every Marine there will be standing proud.
That's outstanding. Yeah.
And then that night we have two balls. There's the ball at the Bellevue, which we refer to as the gala because it's the black tie ball. And that's the same site that General Lejeune actually held the very first Marine Corps ball.
Okay.
So it'll be the 100th anniversary of the very first Marine Corps ball. And then at the Museum of the American Revolution, we're holding a second ball with a very special guest speaker that I really wish I could say, but I can't right now. But both balls, I think there's a few tickets left for the black tie one, but I have a waiting list for the Revolution ball. I'm closing in on a 200 person waiting list.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
And I have 350 tickets already sold and closing in on 200 to wait list. So then the final event. So now we've gone, from historical reference Friday and Saturday to now we're celebrating Sunday as all the Veterans Day. And it's not just Marines, but it's all of those that have raised their right hand. So now we're on Monday. It's really focusing on the Marines and our 250th birthday. On Tuesday, we are teaming with the USS New Jersey Foundation, and they have been gracious to reach out to us and say, hey, would you participate in our Veterans Day ceremony?
Hmm.
So again, it was one of those events I had to close off at 300 because they bring a couple of hundred, and 500 people on the front of that ship is going to be packed. And Barney Barnum is going to be the guest speaker for the Veterans Day ceremony. So it is, you can see it's a full 5 days we got going on there.
Man, it's awesome. Man, I'd love to be there for that. I think any Marine would pinch themselves to be in the middle of that. If people can't be there and they just want to support what you're doing, is there a way to do that as well?
That's a great question. We know that not everyone, we've been blessed. We've got some supporters that have really reached in and donated, $1 million to the project. We're working with a couple of other entities that will probably be doing the same thing. And once they see the excitement this weekend, I think that's really going to tip the scale. So we know people don't have $10,000 in their pocket or $500,000 in their pocket. So we created what is called the 1775 Club. Okay. And yes, it correlates to the birth of the Marine Corps, but it doesn't have to be a Marine to join the 1775 Club. It could be any patriotic American to join this club. And what it is, it's for $17.75 a month for only 12 months, or a one-time payment of $213, and you are a lifetime member of the 1775 Club. That membership, yes, you get a very cool t-shirt. I mean, it's very unique. I get emails every day going, hey, I'd like to buy the 1775 t-shirt. How much is it? And I go, $213.
Yeah.
They go, what? That's an expensive t-shirt. I said, well, yeah, you can only get it if you're a member of the club.
Right.
So you get if you do the monthly payments, you get the t-shirt after your first monthly payment. Then you get your very cool certificate after your third month's payment. And then once you make your final payment, you get your coin.
Okay.
People go, coins. Okay. I got coins all over.
Sure.
These coins are unique because these coins have your membership number etched into the back of the coin. So that is your 1775 Club coin. That's your member number forever and ever in the system, forever and ever. With that, once we are up and operational, a 1775 Club member can come in, show their coin, and they will, from 5 p.m. to 6 p.m., be able to drink 75-cent beer with us. With membership, again, once we're operational, there will be member appreciation nights every month that we will have. Then once we're operational, there will be not just member appreciation nights every month, but those special events, because one of the items we want to do is really become part of the community. They're not just in Old Town Philly, but Philly itself. And we want to hold public debates. So when there's elections going on, let's bring in the councilman or the people that want to be the councilman.
Sure.
And invite the American public or the locals that are going to be voting. And let's get back to what it was in the days when it first stood, and actually listen to the people.
Yeah. On the town square. That's a great idea. Yeah.
Yeah. And we also, on the second floor, we have 2 conference rooms. One's larger than the other, is the easiest way to think of it. But and they're connected. We want to open those up, and we want to at least probably once a quarter open that up to veterans, because we'll have the VA come in and help process your claims if you got VA questions. So we want to, again, give back to the community there. So it's, that's the easiest way for you and me to join, to actually help build. 2 points I want to leave you with. If 3% of those Americans who earned the title of Marine were to join the 1775 Club, we could drop $9 million down right now. We could put 9 mil, and that would get us our construction loan. If 5%, just 5% of those Americans who earned the title of Marine joined the 1775 Club, we could pay cash for the place tomorrow. We could pay cash. And there's very few people around that cannot afford $17.75 a month for 12 months. That's the easy way. There are other, you can go on our website and you'll see a link up at the top. It says contribute, and you can go into our store and purchase items that, yes, I will warn the people who see this, the prices are a little pricey, or the items are a little pricey. But again, we're in fundraising mode. We're trying to raise the funds to rebuild the Tun. One of the items that is very unique in there, and it is $2,500, okay? But it is a 32-ounce tankard. We call it the Legacy tankard because I have purchased one. So the Legacy tankard is handmade by the only female coppersmith in the entire United States. She works out of Wisconsin. And Sarah, it takes Sarah 4.5 hours to build one tankard. It takes that long to build one. Those tankards, if you want, will stay at the Tun forever and ever. They will have their own display case inside the Tun. Your name is etched. And Sarah, it's hand etched. It's not machine. Yeah. She has tools from the 18th century that she uses to put these together. And I say Legacy tankard because an individual that purchases a tankard can leave that to someone when they pass. And that person, and the cool thing about it is if you pay that, you never have to buy a beer inside the Tun again. And I leave it to my dependents. They'll never have to pay for a beer and so forth. So, if you do the appreciation over a couple generations, it comes out to be pennies.
If you live around the corner, you might, pay it off over a couple of years. Who knows?
Yes, sir. And then we have what we call our individual plank owners. They can join that, and that's at $10,000. And you can pay that off over a year if you want to be a plank owner. And then, yes, we do have corporate plank owners, and we have, for those corporations, that we still have some naming rights available inside the Tun itself, the whole facility. I want to make certain that everyone understands that this is not a project that any of us on the board or anyone connected is making money on. No one's making a dime. Our lawyers are volunteers. Our board of directors are volunteers. I'm a volunteer, and I probably put, God, I'd be scared to figure out how many hours I put a day in. Yeah. So we're all volunteers. But once we're up and operational, the key point is we're giving that money away. We're going to give it back to those nonprofits. So, for instance, on the Marine Corps side, we're going to give it to Simplify America's Fund. We're going to give money to Toys for Tots. We're going to give money to the Marine Heritage Foundation. The Freemasons are going to give contribute their money to their hospitals. The other 4 organizations are going to give their money for scholarships. So no one's making a dime on this. We're going to give it back to where it needs to be. Again, intertwining ourselves with not just the local community, but the nation itself. Because we believe the Tun is not, Marines know what the Tun is. We know it. Not America doesn't really know the history of this building and its significance, of the role that it played. one key fact. So when an army, if a soldier is watching this, the night that George Washington was named the commander-in-chief of the Continental Army, the members of Congress took him. They walked a couple of blocks and they went into the Tun and had dinner. That's where they took him before General Washington took off and started commanding all the troops there. So the Tun is intertwined with all of American history.
A big thank you to retired Marine Corps Colonel Ken Hopper for this conversation. Now, I mentioned earlier in the episode, there are two competing projects, both hoping to build a new version of the old Tun Tavern there in the Old City area of Philadelphia. There's the project discussed in this episode called The Tun, led by the nonprofit the Tun Legacy Foundation. And then there's another project by another Marine Corps veteran and restaurant owner. According to reports, that Marine veteran holds the trademark to the name Tun Tavern. That legal battle is still playing out in the courts now, so stay tuned for more on that part of this story. You can also find a link to the full list of events for the Marine Corps' 250th birthday celebration in Philadelphia for that weekend of November 10th. You can find that in the show notes of this episode. Also, one programming note for us, the next episode of this podcast will drop on Monday, November 10th, the Marine Corps birthday, as I continue to tell the story of the Marines at the historic battle at Waste City in the war in Vietnam. That's next time on Tomorrowtown, Tennessee. This podcast is a production of News Channel 9, Fox Chattanooga, and Sinclair Broadcast Group Chattanooga. I hope you join me again real soon.